The crew worldwide, from Cali to Twitter, real hardcore fans, boxing ass niggas, consistency cops, police the views, we'll pull up receipts for any debates you choose. Shout outs to Clan Arky for the dope production. Ring Gang stay with the best discussion. Ring Gang Radio.
Like we were saying, and like I'm saying, at the end of the day, Anthony Joshua he may have the talent to beat Deontay Wilder. Of course he does.
Yeah,
Champion
he
of the world,
do,
right?
yeah.
He has 3 to 4 belts. He's this, that. He's undefeated, knocked at everybody. But guess what? Boxing ain't just about the talent. You had the heart, you had the confidence to beat me. And at the end of the day, he's not showing that he has that. If you don't have that heart, you're not winning. I don't care what we've seen it too many times. It's too many times in boxing we've seen the guy with less skill but the more heart win. So talking about talent and skill means nothing when you don't have the heart to back that up and use it. Does Anthony Joshua have the heart to face Deontay Wilder? He ain't showing it. He's looking more like the Tin Man.
Yeah, go
Big,
ahead,
strong. You know what I mean? Where's the heart? Where's the heart? This man is calling you out. He's calling. I couldn't imagine somebody calling somebody. Listen, you're the heavyweight champion of the world. At the end of the day, you holding belts that Muhammad Ali held. You holding belts that Joe Frazier held. George Foreman held those belts. Mike Tyson held those belts. Lennox Lewis held those belts. They're not getting punked out by another champion. If you supposed to be this, that, and the third, and we just seen Black Panther. Don't tell me about your Nigerian roots. We just seen Black Panther. If you wanna take it there with the Wakanda, you fight him. You go out there and fight Killmonger then. But we ain't. I want to see that fight. You better start showing that heart that you want to fight Deontay Wilder, or I'm Xing you out. I don't care how many belts you got. I'm gonna always remember that you were scared to fight another champion in his prime in your division, and you're waiting for somebody else to knock him off. That's whack. I ain't never seen a heavyweight champion pull that move that was respected. This is a new era.
Pat?
This is a new era.
Pat?
God
What
damn.
you gotta say,
God
Pat?
damn.
Hey, y'all
I don't
recording?
know. Yeah, we live, man. We live.
Wow.
This is live. This is live.
Niggas, what the breakdown is, what's going on in the podcast before I actually,
Oh man, Pat Bluster.
We on Wilder and Joshua.
No.
That's it.
Oh, this damn situation. All right, my take on the situation, man. First of all, like I said, I don't pay attention to any of the chatty patty stuff. I mean, I told everyone before, I don't like the business aspect of boxing. Never have and never will. I don't like it. So for the most part, these niggas not fighting, then I'm pretty much ignoring them half the time. I do the same thing with Triple G. If Triple G's not fighting and there's not a fight there, I don't bother arguing about that shit. If Gary's not fighting or anything, I don't bother arguing about that shit until something is actually signed. And in this particular case, Femi just finished, his little thing with Parker. He picked up the WBO belt and it's all good or whatever. So now it's just trying to get this Wilder, get this fight with Wilder, going. So Hearn is the one that's talking, and it's just like, if Hearn wants to talk and run his mouth over there, I'm not listening to fucking Hearn. Hearn can talk about the WBSS, and I'll listen to that shit because that's going. But I'm not gonna sit there and on every article that this motherfucker is saying on Boxing Scene or anything out there, it's like, oh yes, we're sending this contract. Oh, we're sending that contract. I don't got time for that type of shit. It's like, when niggas get together and the fight is actually signed, then there's something to talk about. But that seems to be the thing that's permeating this. It's just like Wilder or Femi, or it's like this. He said this. She said that. I don't care about that. That's not the shit that interests me.
But
now,
does Joshua want the fight?
Now, Joshua hasn't said. That's the thing, though. Joshua hasn't said. Joshua is just pretty much probably just trying to, keep his business on the low. It's just her that keeps on saying all this other shit. And it's just like, now, do I want Femi to be a little bit more verbal? Because he hasn't really said shit about it other than, maybe a couple troll pics or whatever, or some minor comments. But he hasn't been in the media saying shit like Wilder has, because Wilder doesn't have a fucking promoter, or a promoter that's not doing his damn job. And it's just like, tired of actually listening to that bullshit. So it's just Wilder, Femi, they're gonna fight. There's too much money on the table. I personally think they are gonna fight. I said 20. Give it to 2019. This shit is gonna pop off. Now the extra details, we're talking about venue or money or stipulations or rematch clauses, all that other shit. Hey, that's the business part. I'm not really paying attention to that right now, but it's gonna happen. I believe it's going to happen. I believe Femi is just doing what he's doing, just keeping quiet about the situation. Wilder is just barking and playing rah-rah because, someone has to try to sell the fight in some way or form.
No, he's doing that because he's the heavyweight champion of the world. That's what the heavyweight... Listen, I told y'all before, we talk about welterweights. I love my welterweights. Earl Spence, that's my guy. I love middleweights, light heavyweights, all of them. Ain't nobody like a heavyweight. At the end of the day, ain't nobody like a heavyweight. This man is the heavyweight champion of the world. Anthony Joshua has 3 of the 4 heavyweight championships of the world. I said Muhammad Ali.
All one by one.
Muhammad Ali.
In his prime,
he's holding belts that the great Muhammad Ali held. Muhammad Ali wouldn't let Joe Frazier call him out like this. He's holding belts that George Foreman held. That he's holding these belts. Only the legends of the legends, the greats of the greats have held.
Well, you have to understand something.
Heavyweight world champions of the world.
Ali and Frazier hated each other. Frazier hated Ali. Ali was trying to play it up.
You don't become the heavyweight champion of the world and hold 3 of the 4 championship belts, have the 4th champion barking at you and you saying, well, I'm just handling my business and I'm just trying to keep it under. You're the champion of the world. What?
Wilder. Wilder been wild.
Wilder of the world, the champ of champs, the heavyweight champion of the world is always the number 1 champion of the world. We all know that. At the end of the day, a heavyweight champion is not the same as being no disrespect, but that's nothing the same as being a featherweight champion of the world. This is a heavyweight. That's
And I definitely agree with that too. I definitely agree. The heavyweight champion is what makes it. Heavyweights
that man is not
boxing. The heavyweights go as boxing goes as the heavyweights go, and vice versa. That's how it's always been.
So why is he not speaking of? It's not Deontay Wilder's being rah-rah. Wilder is calling out the other champ because that's what you're supposed to do. The same way that your heavyweights that you love called out other. It's always been done that way in heavyweight history. You don't get a heavyweight.
The thing though, if Wilder's only calling Joshua. Wilder's held that belt for a while. Wilder held that belt when Vlad was champion. He wasn't calling out Vlad or anything like that. So let's stop all this.
I feel like the evidence is right here in front of everybody's face, and as neutral as I want to be about the situation, because I like both of them. I just feel like it's right in front of your face. It's just hard for you to say that the reason why he's laying low, the reason why he's doing stuff business related, he's making a business decision. He don't want to fight Wilder right now. He don't want to fight him next.
Well,
he's not pushing to fight him.
Let's put this in perspective, though. Wilder has 40-something fights. Wilder has had years of criticism because he's been fighting absolute bullshit. For like the first 5-6 years of his career. He's vexed because he's in fight 40 and he's getting criticism. Femi has 21 fights. Femi's in the place where he can actually, he can get away with that for not too long because he holds 3 belts. That's why Wilder is.
So is Joshua? Pat, do you feel like Joshua is ready for Wilder right now?
Because
tomorrow.
Do I feel? I said yes. I said it before.
Do you think that he thinks that though?
Do I think he probably does?
Okay, well let me ask this.
Am I in this camp?
Hold on. Let me ask this. Let me just ask this. I'm just gonna set the scenario because this is what you just said. If we have to, we could pause the podcast, run back the tape, listen to it all together, come back, huddle up, and get it together. You just said Deontay Wilder had 40-something fights, right?
40, yeah, 41.
40, right. Joshua's had 21-something fights, right?
That's right.
The reason to bringing that up is Joshua can get away with this, but not for too long. Because like you said, he has 3 of the 4 belts, right?
That's correct.
Okay. How can Joshua, with 21 fights, right, and he has 3 of the 4 heavyweight championships of the world, you already believe that Anthony Joshua is much more talented than Deontay Wilder is right now, right? You already think that Anthony Joshua is more talented than Deontay Wilder. You said Deontay Wilder is a bum, that he's not. He's a Randall Bailey. That's your quote. That's your quote.
I'll keep saying that. I'll say it till I'm blue and I'm dark skinned.
Okay, but hold on. So let me finish. So that's what you said. So if Deontay Wilder is so much less skilled than Anthony Joshua, who holds 3 of the 4 belts plus a gold medal, Deontay Wilder is less skilled than him. He's a bum. But yet you're saying that, or Anthony Joshua can't fight him now, though? That's not something we can't put, because you already believe he's better. So what are we waiting for? If he's already better, then what is the point of bringing up? Well, he has 40 fights, but Joshua's already better. We just seen Josh Taylor win with 13 fights. We seen Loma win a championship over your boy with 2 fights. So what does it matter about how many fights that you have? It doesn't. Anthony Joshua doesn't have that heart and that confidence that you have to talk on his behalf, because you don't have to get in that ring with Deontay Wilder. Anthony Joshua does, and he's already been dropped multiple times in sparring. He's already been.
I don't understand it. He's been got. It's sparring.
Accents aren't his.
As a pro, they've been bound once. Wilder was dropped by a damn journeyman. And I put up this picture hundreds of times.
That yes, we know that the difference in
dropped by that. I don't understand. I don't understand what you think this sparring. There is no video of this motherfucker getting knocked out.
Yes, Anthony Joshua admitted. Joshua, listen, your boy admitted himself.
I don't understand why people bring this shit up.
Anthony Joshua already admitted he's been knocked down by David Price.
Once as pros, both of them have been wobbled as pros. Wilder more than Femi for that matter.
But saying doesn't matter, because Deontay Wilder is running towards him. He's not running towards Deontay Wilder. So what does that mean? So all that talk about how Deontay Wilder's been knocked down don't matter, because Deontay Wilder still won it. Anthony Joshua wants nothing.
What matters is, let them talk, let them bark, let them sell the fight, let the business be the business behind the background, and then announce that shit. Now, in the case of Femi, that everyone's like, oh, this is convenient. The WBA is, they ordered the WH to order the mandatory, because that's the new bullshit. That's why people are all getting all ramped up. I mean, if it was just a simple, no, Femi's not gonna fight, and that's about it, there wouldn't be all this uproar. But the fact that the WBA is talking about, okay, we're giving you guys enough time to make this shit happen. Now we're ordering Femi to face Povetkin. This is what has most of these niggas all up in a tizzy about this bullshit, and that's the reason. And I said it before too. If the WBA, I mean, if you want the unification, you gotta keep the belts together, And it's unfortunate, because we had this issue with Triple G and that other bullshit. It's unfortunate that the WBA
they're not going to script Anthony Joshua
this situation, now we're forced to Femi versus Povetkin. But
it's funny.
I'm not.
It's funny
because
they're not strip Eddie Hearn had already met with Povetkin team like a couple months ago. That shit wasn't even new. They had been met, so they already had that fight in the back burner. It wasn't. I mean, they delayed the fight, man. They didn't
have multiple fights. I mean, we just seen the same with Triple G and Canelo. If Canelo and Triple G didn't happen, Triple G would be facing BGS in California or some shit. They always do that. Who
undercard did Povetkin fight on?
I'm not sweating that shit.
Who undercard did Povetkin fight on last?
I don't know. He knocked out fucking Price.
Was it on Anthony Joshua card?
I
don't remember.
The Price fight was on the undercard, wasn't it?
I'm a check.
Or it was. Or at least it was shown early in that day.
That's a business move right there. Just like you positioning Dylan White to have a rematch with Anthony Joshua. I won't be surprised.
Right,
Get that fight.
Yeah, they was on the same day. I know that for a fact. They was on the same day.
My thing is, at the end of the day, as a man, when you wake up in the morning and you wash your face, you know what I mean? Some people don't. Some people don't wash their face, but those of us that wash our face, you know what I mean? Before we leave out the house, you look in that mirror, you make sure you're good, but you look yourself in the eyes. How can you look yourself in the eye knowing there is a man walking around that's holding a belt that you won, calling you a pussy, saying he can smell your odor from here. He's talking this type of way. He's talking to you like that, and you still got nothing to say. And you're supposed to be the heavyweight champion of the world, 3 of the 4. How can you look yourself in the mirror and say that, knowing that you're holding belts that were around the waist of Muhammad Ali? I'm going to keep saying it because that man is a heavyweight champion of the world. That man is.
Muhammad Ali only had the WBA belt. He didn't have the IBF or WO because they weren't in existence.
Does Joshua hold the WBA belt? Yes, he does. That's a belt Muhammad Ali had around his waist. Anthony Joshua has it around his, but he's looking himself in the mirror every day, knowing that Deontay Wilder is disrespecting him, calling him out. No matter what you say about Deontay Wilder, oh, his chin, oh, he has no skills, oh, he's been knocked down. But that man is calling out your number 1 heavyweight in the world with not an issue, not a sound, not a
let him do that. He has no
out in his voice.
He has no promoter.
The other champion is hiding behind his promoter. And people online that's just saying, oh, but we beat Vladimir Klitschko 2 years after he lost to Tyson Fury. Who cares? It was 2 years after he lost to Tyson Fury. That man needs to get in the ring with the prime Deontay Wilder, who's calling him out. Get that championship he claims he wants. Other than that, don't tell me you're the champion of the world. You ain't a champion of the world. You just hold 3 of the 4 belts. But you're not the champion because you don't have the champion look in your eyes. You don't have that champion blood in your heart right now.
Wilder is not even. Wilder is not even the lineal champion. Neither is Femi. I mean, everyone else Fury is. I mean, so it's like
all the trinkets and things like that don't matter. I say it as a man. As a man, Anthony Joshua could not look.
Niggas keep talking. I'm saying no.
He wants to Deontay Wilder because he can't even come on he can't even write a post saying that he wants that fight by all means necessary. I cannot imagine
this way, man. If you want, if Heyman was more active behind the mic, then maybe Wilder wouldn't have to talk. You know what I'm saying? That's what I have to say. That's the reason why Wilder's going off at the mouth, because Wilder chatty patty on social media.
So you're happy to hear for Anthony Joshua's puppet. You rather hear from Eddie Hearn than to hear from.
I said I wasn't. I ignore Eddie Hearn. I'm waiting to hear from what.
So you
I'm waiting to hear an announcement that for this fight being made. I'm not trying. I don't follow Eddie Hearn unless we talk about World Boxing Super Series.
So Eddie Hearn, you don't listen. You don't pay attention to Eddie Hearn. Anthony Joshua is mute. So what? So what do we? So what can we say? But you're mad that Deontay Wilder is calling him out.
I'm not mad. I said niggas like to talk. Let him talk. If a nigga wants to talk about some shit, let him talk. He's a grown ass man. Let him talk.
Well, how else? Gary Russell called out a Leo Santa Cruz, didn't he, with his own mouth?
Yeah, is Gary on social media every fucking day talking about some shit? You know, no. Gary's in the gym doing what he's doing.
I don't think Wilder would be as active on social media if he wasn't complaining about the fight not being made. Every time we hear from him, it's about the fight. Hey, I'm sending you this. It's in the bag.
Wilder complains about every fucking thing. If it's not this, I mean, he complained, when Povetkin popped dirty. When
why wouldn't you though?
Wilder puts his emotions on the sleeve, but it's out there. Every single thing he complains about, it's social media. That's what he does.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. This is not like
these niggas ducking. Those are good valid reasons for you to speak up on your social media.
Every fucking day, every fucking week doing this shit.
Talks
about
I'm
not sweating that shit.
How could it be wrong for Deontay Wilder to talk about Povetkin PEDs when he's actually been suspended for a long time for PEDs?
The point is, he's on social media every fucking day talking about some shit. This isn't new. This isn't like a one-time thing like, this isn't like out of the blue he's exploding. No, this motherfucker goes off of the mouth on some random shit every fucking week.
Just like you don't care about the business. Just like you don't care about the business, I don't give a fuck about him talking. I don't care about the business. I want to see who want to fight. And right now, it don't look like Joshua want to fight. He don't have the energy when he talk about the fight. Even if you go look at the fight that he fought last when he called out Wilder at the end, this nigga was half laughing like it wasn't from the heart. You could tell it wasn't from the heart. That's what I'm talking about. Those things that you could see, those are the type of things that I'm looking at. I ain't worried about what Wilder's saying what Eddie Hearn's saying. I'm looking at them when they talking about the fight, and he don't want the fight.
It just don't look like he wanted. But I mean, that if he does want it, he has
and it looks like to me that he's trying to keep his business on the low and not having to be, in the war in the media going back and forth about this shit. About contracts and who signed this, who signed that, what's the contract details, all that.
But Hearn is doing that. Hearn is the main one that's putting shit out there about the negotiations. He constantly doing
that. But Femi isn't, and I believe that.
But he representing Femi.
Business on the low.
So it's the same.
Right,
thing.
he works for him, man. Like you can't.
It's even worse because it's not coming out of Joshua's mouth. It's coming out of Hearn's mouth.
Right, it really is like you behind Eddie Hearn. I want to hear what Anthony Joshua got to say about Deontay Wilder calling him out. You got the nerve to say, fight again, but you can't come out and say, I want to fight Deontay Wilder right now. I'm tired of him talking. At the end of the day, we know that a unification trumps a mandatory fight all day, every day. We know that. So how can we sit here and manipulate our minds to believe that, oh, well, the WBA scheduled made Povetkin mandatory for Joshua, so he has to fight him, or else when Anthony Joshua didn't fight Luis Ortiz when they made him his mandatory.
The WBA stripped Ortiz because he popped dirty. What are you talking about?
They made him his mandatory. Anthony Joshua didn't run and sign that contract. He didn't pop dirty until months later.
I'm pretty sure the WBA removed Ortiz from the rings, and he's been off for a minute.
Months of stalling the fight between Anthony Joshua and Luis Ortiz when he became mandatory.
Well, the thing is, Ortiz though. Ortiz held that bullshit regular belt though, and then because W had like 3 fucking versions of the heavyweight belt. Ortiz should have been updated. Joshua won a vacant belt after Chagayev and after Ortiz was removed as regular champion. So they were not mandatories.
Ortiz was his mandatory, but he didn't fight him. You do not have to fight Alexander Povetkin when you can fight Deontay Wilder.
They weren't mandatory because Ortiz should have been actually upgraded to being an actual WBA champion, but that's some other shit that WBA pulled with Ortiz. Ortiz was not a mandatory to Femi. And I said too, because I said in the post that once the WBA belt became, free, he was the only WBA champion there. He should have been upgraded to be the full super champion, whatever the fuck they do. And that didn't happen for whatever reason. So he was never a mandatory for Femi.
At the end of the day, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, the thing is that it's a debate, but the fighter fights and demands a fight. The promoter makes the fight happen. You can't confuse that with Eddie Hearn got to speak at all times for Anthony Joshua. No, he a grown ass man. We want to hear him say that he wants to fight, so that we know that what Hearn is saying is reflected by what Joshua is saying. Not
what he's saying, right?
Not just all Hearn telling us. The story, giving us the play-by-play, because Wilder said he had a conversation with Joshua, and Joshua asked for $50 million, and allegedly he brought him $50 million. I don't know. I can't verify. I ain't worried about the contracts. I ain't worried about all that shit. I'm just saying, you can demand the fight and make the fight happen. And if you need an extension, you the fucking heavyweight champion of the world. You got 3 belts.
Now all of a
file
sudden,
a fucking extension.
It's so crazy.
I don't give a damn if you gotta file it 3, 4, 5 times. Do that shit to get the fight, because at the end of the day, Wilder is gonna make you the most money, and if you get the rematch, you're gonna make the most money. Wilder almost got stopped in the 7th round. You almost got stopped by Klitschko, so you don't know when that train could derail, and now you got a whole different fight. Your momentum is killed. Y'all got losses. The belts is here, there, whatever. You gotta capitalize on the momentum you got right now.
But the thing is now with this WBA mandatory, if that WBA belt goes, Povetkin fights the other bullshit shit that they have.
Povetkin don't deserve to fight Joshua over Wilder. He don't deserve to fight. Niggas wasn't even talking about Povetkin for the whole last 2 years. He don't deserve to fight over Wilder, so you can't say he the manager. No, fuck that.
I don't like this Povetkin fight either, because Povetkin, yes, he takes PEDs, but he's dangerous. He's plenty dangerous.
And he did fight on Anthony Joshua undercard in Cardiff.
Like I said, because Povetkin can easily throw a wrench in this whole shit, and it's like, he taps him with one right hand and bam. Povetkin takes all the belts to Russia. And I mean, I don't like this fight. I don't like it at all. I'm not a fan of the fight, and I don't want him to take the mandatory. But it's either that, or the title becomes free, and Povetkin faces whoever, and then it's another partial unification, and then whoever's winner that has to lose a bid to Povetkin in Russia. That's the way it goes. Rather than just a simple get this mandatory out of the way, and hopefully that there's no bullshit, and then 4 belts on the line.
And by the way, I'm looking here right now and pulling up the receipts, and there's a lot of WBA mandatory things here that you can check. Where Luis Ortiz was listed as his mandatory. He was his mandatory dating back as far as May of 2017. He wasn't removed as his mandatory until November 3rd of 2017. That's 6 months at minimum.
Right, because it was after the Klitschko fight. He was in that spot, right?
Right. And he didn't face his mandatory. So I'm not trying to hear about his mandatory and belts.
What did Matchroom Boxing do at that time? Did they not, or was that before they signed Luis Ortiz?
They signed him. They tried to sign him and play him out. Told him that he was going to fight Joshua, play it like it was going to get him after he fought that one fight under the deal. It didn't happen, and then he popped dirty. It didn't happen immediately. So I'm not trying to hear about Povetkin happening immediately when, again, on the line, at the end of the day, man, if it was Deontay Wilder, people going to keep it real about it. If it was Deontay Wilder and he had 3 of the 4 championship belts, the best opponent out there is calling him out who has the other belt. He has a chance to be the first undisputed champion of this decade. The first undisputed champion since they trying to take that status away from Lennox Lewis, but since Lennox Lewis, you know what that would do for England? You have that opportunity to do that, be the first champion since then. It's 2 undefeated heavyweight champions who's knocked out everybody they both faced. They both won medals in the Olympics, but instead I'll fight Alexander Povetkin. Come on, man. You know what type of media reports, how many articles, how much venom you would have in your post about him, Pat? Come on, man. And we sort of sit here and think that it's cool. Joshua just laying low, handling his business. You didn't like when Floyd was handling his business. Now it's cool to handle business. Ain't no other divisions for Joshua to go to. He's a heavyweight. There is no other division. Your business should be cleaning out the division. That's what you always used to tell us, right?
I said it all the time. Yeah.
Right. So how are you not on the side that he should be taking this fight? If Deontay Wilder was Anthony Joshua and he did not fight him, if he did not fight Anthony Joshua, who was calling him out, but instead took a fight against Alexander Povetkin, you would say, it's cool, he just, making sure he doesn't get stripped. When we both know that a unification will override that, you wouldn't say that.
Especially after what happened to Triple G, I fully 100% believe what I said.
So you believe the WBA
you gotta keep the belts, man. You gotta keep the belts. So you gotta think of that's the bigger picture of this. You gotta try to keep the belts together instead of getting them splintered. So that's the reason why. I mean,
they delayed this
shit. I don't like
to
it,
get
but
to that point.
That's what has to happen.
They delayed this shit to get to that point. I mean, we know that was that's like a built-in excuse. I'ma wait. Oh no, I guess I gotta make the fight. No, that's what I'm saying. Fuck that. You file an extension. If they did it once, they could do it twice. They could do it 3 times. You tell them, oh, we're getting close. We're getting close to making a fight. Give us an extension. It's gonna be the biggest fight in the world. You gonna make the most money. WBA.
Nothing in the negotiations has said that this fight has even been close to being made.
But they haven't come out and said that. But that's what you tell the WBA if you want to get the fight made. They don't fucking know. I'm just saying, there's ways. If you a businessman, you're going to do all you can to make something happen so that you can make the most money if you want it, but you don't want it.
This is boxing. A lot of these boxers do shit they don't even want to do. I don't know what you think about. These guys don't have that much control over their own careers.
But y'all tell us that Fitmy does, though. He's not those cats. You tell me that he's the star. He's the superstar boxer. And wasn't nobody telling Floyd what to do when he was a superstar. Wasn't nobody telling Oscar De La Hoya what to do when he was a superstar. Ain't nobody telling Canelo what to do. So you telling me Anthony Joshua, not only he doesn't call his shots and he can't speak up for himself and he doesn't have the, come on man, but he has the heart to really face Deontay Wilder though.
Oh,
He can't speak for himself. He doesn't call the shots, but he really wants to fight Deontay Wilder. Come on, Pat.
If only Anthony Joshua didn't have a promoter then.
If he didn't have a promoter, if he didn't have a promoter, it would just still be on the grind coming up. He probably be fighting Daniel Dubois right now or something. Who knows? They'd probably be getting ready to fight. Eddie Hearn got him to that level he got to. Between that and Anthony Joshua's appeal to the women, you know what I mean? That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is, man. He's not out there to fight with heart. He ain't out there to. He's not Deontay Wilder out there. At the end of the day, I don't care what nobody say, man. He's not Deontay Wilder out there. You got to judge a man by his character at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we're seeing what their character is. I'm not going to hold it because it's boxing. At the end of the day, I pick my fighters who's going to win. A lot of it is based off your skill and your talent. But if you don't have that heart to back that up, I can't pick you. I'm
fully confident in AJ up until the point where he starts it seemed like he's second guessing himself. So now I'm looking at him like, shit, I ain't that confident in picking him now.
I got the devil on my left shoulder. What was he saying in that interview? That I always gonna revert. I got the devil.
Yeah, he's a fighter on one shoulder and the businessman or the manager and me on the other shoulder, and I gotta make them blend together and see what works best for me though.
Well, that's you. I mean, like I said though, I'm still with Femi. I said Femi would be champion by 2017, back in 2015, and I was right. I will stick with Femi until no more. I'm always gonna pick Femi. I'm gonna pick Femi against Wilder. I'm gonna pick Femi against Fury. I'm gonna pick Femi against damn near every heavyweight out there. That's how it's gonna be. Because Femi has not given me any inkling or anything like that. Things that he won't be able to get it done. You're just going off intentions or perceived intentions.
I'm just going off of man. All you can do is judge a man off his actions, bro. At the end of the day, no matter what your attributes are, no matter what your attributes are, all I can judge you by is how you moving, how you act. I don't care if you have all the talent in the world. Again, if you don't have that heart to face him, he can beat Deontay Wilder. But you haven't seen one thing out of Anthony Joshua that is showing you that he really wants to fight Deontay Wilder. You cannot say that. Your wagon to it, right? That's the only thing. That's one thing that a lot of Anthony Joshua fans try to glance over or skip over that part. What have you seen out of Anthony Joshua that tells you he wants Deontay Wilder? Tell me, please. You have the floor.
Nigga, am I Anthony Joshua?
You're picking him to win. I mean, you're picking him to win. You're picking him to win. So if you're picking him to win, you're siding with him.
No, I said I'm not Anthony Joshua. I'm Deontay Wilder. He said this shit after the Parker fight. I mean, he's gonna have to repeat it over and over and over again. He said that shit, and that's good enough for me. We wait and see if the fight gets made. This ain't no Mayweather and Pacquiao. This ain't, this is not like after 5 years or some shit.
It's already been 3.
But the funny thing is, I remember after the Stavern fight, I'll give News credit. News said Joshua not gonna fight him until 2019. News said that shit the moment that fight ended, and it's sure as hell looking like it. I gotta give props to News. News said Joshua's not gonna fight Wilder until 2019 after that fight. That nigga stood by that shit.
I'm always saying it, and I'm gonna keep saying it. All these Anthony Joshua fans been, Deontay Wilder a bum. He's this, he's that. What does that have to do with you fighting me? Show me I'm a bum. Don't tell me I'm a bum. Yep. Show me I'm a bum. This is a show me sport. This is not a talking sport. There's no pie chart. There's no graphs that's going to allow you to beat me. You have to physically get in this ring and physically dominate me in order to beat me. Pause on that. You have to physically beat me to win. Anthony Joshua has not shown that he wants to actually try to do that to Deontay Wilder. It seems more like I don't know what it is, and I don't know where the confidence comes from in the Anthony Joshua fans. But for me, if a fighter is not looking like he wants to jump, if a kid don't want to jump in the pool, I'm not pushing you in that pool because you're gonna drown. Anthony Joshua don't want to jump in that pool.
And it was easy as hell for them to make that goddamn Parker fight too. So I'm just like, so it was easy. It was easy as hell for them to make them last two fights. So what's the hold up now? You mean Wilder's not being difficult? Like that's what we were saying before you got on, Pat. We like Wilder not being difficult, man. Everything that they're throwing at Wilder, he's accepted. I mean, he's accepted verbally, publicly. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes because, like we all said, we not there.
That's the thing. It's behind the scenes.
Eddie Hearn would have been brought that out that he didn't accept it.
And that's the shit that's the shit we'll judge it by.
Eddie Hearn would have been brought it out. He spoke on their last negotiation saying it was just an email. It wasn't a real contract. He would have said something if by now if Deontay Wilder didn't sign anything. They're not saying that. Well, all that's been exposed is that Eddie Hearn actually sent that man a contract without a date or a venue on it. Pat, I send you a job application. I'll tell you I wanted to hire you without a start date. Are you signing that? Is that your job? You don't know where you work or the start date. You're not signing that. Come on, like they're playing us like we're fools, man. I mean, I understand being a fan, but at the same time, we gotta detach ourselves from the Matrix a little bit.
Well, I have. That's why I'm not going on the day to day. These niggas like he said this, he said that. I've detached myself from the Matrix. I don't talk about Femi or Wilder unless it's another bullshit Wilder, Mike Tyson, or Wilder's the best heavyweight, or Wilder has skill, all that other bullshit. That's the only I actually talk about Wilder. I don't talk about Wilder and Femi. I don't bring them. I'll ever bring those two up. I will bring them because there's nothing there. It's just a whole lot of talk. That's all I hear. There's nothing solid. There's nothing there.
Imagine the heights that
detach myself away from the Matrix.
Imagine the heights that Joshua could reach if he beat Wilder, took his belt, and just kept doing his whole. He could go back in the UK career mode. I mean, he's making enough money where he could easily take the Wilder fight. It ain't like it ain't okay. Say you making $50 million today, Wilder knocks you out. You still gonna make $40 million, $45 million the next day. It don't matter if you take an L. He's past taking L's even right now. He could still. So it's like you don't have a good enough excuse to not give us the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fight needs to happen. There's not a good enough excuse for you to continue to delay it. Like Johnny Nelson said, you telling me that you want to put the fight off as if you ain't already the king of the hill. If you the king of the hill, you don't need more time. The time is
you got nothing.
Especially when and like I said, I mean it just shows you the opponent. Like you said, he fought Joseph Parker with no problem. From what we've heard, there really hasn't been any problem. If somebody who wasn't Deontay Wilder held the belt right now, I'm pretty sure Anthony Joshua could have made $50 million and got that belt from him and fought him. He would have done it already. The fact that he's not jumping at that means off top, Team Joshua don't think that Deontay Wilder is anywhere close to a bum or unable to beat him. Off top, when you turn down $50 million, either you're scared or your name is Dave Chappelle. And as far as I know, his name is Anthony Joshua.
I wouldn't even say 50 million. If you turn down anything over 20 million, over 15 million.
And that man, he offered the man 50 million is what 50 million. We don't know what they said. They haven't disputed it. That's all they've said, 50 million. At the end of the day, if you really wanted it, you would have said, I want that deal. We signing it. We're taking it.
Yep.
Only Dave Chappelle turned down $50 million. And that's a legend. You Anthony Joshua, at the end of the day, you get your money. But the fact that you turned down $50 million to fight somebody means that you do not think that you can. That's too much money to turn down. It's too much to turn down. That's way too much money to turn down. Even if
we didn't even get the pay-per-view side of it and all that too. The upside would have been ridiculous.
There's not a heavyweight landscape where he got other alternatives that could make him anywhere around that amount of money that Wilder would. And then you got to pack in, like I said, if you got one Wilder fight, you got two Wilder fights. If you got two Wilder fights, you might have three Wilder fights. So if you combine all of that, that's a lot of fucking money.
See, the thing is, though, you guys are pocket watching these niggas. Why? Why do you care how much these niggas are making?
Because
why they
that's
turn
deciding the fight right now. The fucking
Yeah, 'cause
pockets.
that's what they said.
I wouldn't talk
they
about that
said.
shit if it
your
wasn't
boy
relevant.
asked for it. Right, your
Because
boy
they said
asked
50
for it.
million. Hey, because they said 50 million. That's why we bringing it up.
We
Shit,
back
they
you
giving
back.
us all the info on the negotiations, which is why I don't give a fuck. Eddie Hearn ain't got to report and publicize everything he doing, but he doing it so he can control the narrative. That's why he keep getting out there saying shit so he can control the narrative. That's what he gonna do. That's why they call him Fast Ass Eddie.
Like this, man. Forget even pocket watching. I already said it a couple minutes ago. Forget all that. Take the belts off. All that. Man to man. Anthony Joshua should have ran towards that fight. So if you don't want to talk pockets and we just talk strictly one fighter versus the other, at the end of the day, you cannot let another man disrespect you like that. Especially when you're walking around calling yourself the baddest man on the world. You're the champion of the world. He's calling himself champion of the world. Not only is that, he's disrespecting you. Not only is that, he's calling you out constantly. Not only is that, he wants to fight you, and you won't speak up. So as a man, forget pocket watching. As a man, when do you say, I want this fucking fight because I want to knock his head off? When do you say that?
One
Or is it
face, one face, one name, one champion? How long he been saying that?
Or is it? Or Eddie Hearn has to say it because he's his promoter. Like, I mean, come on, man. At the end of the day, so no matter if it's pocket watching, contracts, any avenue we want to talk, it don't matter. Attendance, he can't do more attendance than he can with Deontay Wilder. There's nobody that he can sell out a fight with over in the UK bigger than Deontay Wilder right now. At the end of the
like you said,
this is the UK, not US. That motherfucker sells out, has already done sold out without Wilder. I don't understand. I mean, it's not like a thing in the fucking US.
I didn't say he can't sell out without Wilder. I said he can't do more seats without Wilder.
Right.
If he can 80,000 with Carlos Takem, how much you think he can do with Deontay Wilder?
I think
it's the same damn thing. It ain't no larger venue.
Well, the venue not larger, but the ticket prices are higher. That's the difference.
Even forget that. Leave that out the way then. So that even makes it more reason why there's no reason for him to fight Povetkin because he can't sell more tickets. He can't. What is the point of? So he doesn't get stripped. He signs. Man, it's ridiculous. The amount of convincing yourself that you have to do in order to accept Anthony Joshua not going after this fight. You have to disregard heavyweight history. Like I said, I love all other divisions. I love boxing, but we're talking about heavyweight, the heavyweight division. This is the division. This has never been done before. This has never been done.
It has been done before. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I just want to wrap it up with news point about fuck all the belts. To a man, Wilder been wild disrespectful to AJ, and we do got an example because remember when Laura was being wild disrespectful to Canelo, and Canelo went right to De La Hoya and said, "Make the goddamn fight," and they fought next. And Canelo, whether you thought he won or lost, he still said, "Fuck the bullshit. I need to shut his ass up." And that fight got made no problem. So that's all I got to leave it with. So y'all can take it, but there is an example of like what News said, when a nigga just disrespecting you, push you in your chest, putting their finger in your fucking forehead, and calling you a coward, a pussy. Come on, dog. You at some point you got to be like, fuck this bullshit. At least say something. You know what I'm saying? At least address it. At least acknowledge it. I'm not saying you owe us that, but it got to be something inside you to be like, I got to say something because this motherfucker is just being too wild disrespectful on my name, dog. At some point you got to protect your name, dog. And as in over the last 24 hours, we see it on social media. The people are waking up and starting to swing more towards Wilder, dog. And you can't fault them because we just going off what we seeing. That AJ looking like the optics looking like they don't want the smoke. So I'm leaving with that.
Hey man, this is news, man. Hey, my final thoughts are, like I said, and like Ma was just saying, strip them down to whatever you want to, put them in the same room. We in the same room. We in detention at the school. I'm mad. You mad that you here. I'm popping you with rubber bands. I'm hitting you with all type of spitballs. You know what I mean? I'm smacking you in the back of the head like Kevin Garnett did Tim Duncan. You know I had to throw that in there, Ma. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just disrespecting you right now. And you sitting here calling yourself the champion. I'm pushing you. I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything I can to make you want to get mad to fight me, and you won't. That's disheartening to know that this guy holds 3 of the 4 championship belts. It's cool to win. You have the talent and all that, but at the end of the day, you want the heavyweight champion of the world. This is boxing. You want the heavyweight champion of the world that's holding belts that the legends have been called. Joe Louis was the heavyweight champion of the world. Muhammad Ali was the heavyweight champion of the world. Foreman, Frazier, Tyson, Lewis, Klitschko's, they were heavyweight champions of the world. You are a heavyweight champion of the world. You have the 4th belt is right there to complete the process. It's all you have to do is cross the street. Instead, you're walking down the street. Instead of crossing the street right there at the crosswalk, you're walking back down the street. I'm not liking that, and I'm not feeling that. Joshua fans, y'all can say whatever y'all want to, but your boy's gonna have to do something about it because it's not looking real good right now.
All right, man. It's Pat Scorpio, and my final thoughts on this. Like I said, this back and forth in the media has been going on for so long. Like I said, I've detached myself from the Matrix. I don't care about all that hoopla. Like if they want to do that in public, fine, so be it. You know, there are other things going on in boxing other than listening to that. You know, but one thing about this unification, yes, you know, you have in order to keep it a unification, in order to keep it as a true unification, all 4 belts, you got to keep your belt. You got to keep all 4 belts. Now the WBA thing, it's unfortunate, and this is like, and I said before, coming off the whole Triple G debacle, you know, it's terrible that, you know, sometimes these belts, you have to do things to keep the belt, but that sometimes it's what happens. I don't like it, but I understand it. You know, and it's a bigger picture thing, as I mentioned before. Keep the get rid of Povetkin, get him out of the way, you know, and keep your belt, and then continue doing whatever you were doing with these fight negotiations with Wilder. That's the big picture. You know, instead of seeing a title gone and a title splintered, and then we see another partial unification. Wilder, like I said, he's on the social media. He can talk all he wants. He says anything that comes to his mind. That's why I'm not sweating all this hoopla that he's doing right now about the whole situation with Femi. It's what it is, you know. And Femi is doing what he's doing. He's probably trying to keep his business on low. That's what I think is what I think is going to happen. And I also think the fight is going to happen. You know, this is not Floyd Pacquiao situation. This is not a Juanma Gamboa situation. This is far from that. It's going to happen, and you know, like I said, and that's why I'm sitting here. I'm not sweating it. You know, why would I? I mean, everyone knows it's the biggest fight. And the biggest fights in the divisions eventually do happen, and it gets no bigger than this. So, Femi has not said, he's not a Joe Calzaghe that says, "Oh, I'm not looking for the hardest competition," because that's verbal. That is on there, and that's the stuff that turns me off. Femi has not said anything of that nature. He has not said verbally. He has also said verbally that he wants Wilder, and I'm gonna go by that. You know, and I'm gonna go by it until I hear otherwise. So that's my final thoughts on this.
What up, y'all? It's Leon. My final thoughts is that the fight obviously needs to get made. I'm not surprised that there will be a fight in between, maybe a potential fight, but I think that the excuse about the mandatory and keeping the titles together, we getting too caught up on, you know, the titles. At the end of the day, the champion make the titles, not the other way around. So if you got to get the fight made and lose the title, I mean, okay, it'll lose some of the luster from the fight, but it's the right fight. Even if one of the titles is missing, and the winner got to circle back around, and maybe you do the rematch after then. I don't know, but I just feel like all of the feeling of that the fight will happen eventually. The fight needs to happen now, because as we saw, like I said, Wilder almost got stopped in the 7th round. Not stopped, but he was severely hurt. Joshua been severely hurt. Both of these dudes could lose. Anything could happen. It's boxing. So we don't need to wait for a potential fight. I mean, Joshua fought his last fight as if he was saving himself to get to the Wilder fight. I mean, that fight had a little action. That was like another business move. So I just want to get away from all the business stuff, and I want to see these two dudes fight. I like them both. I wouldn't question neither one of them if they didn't give off certain impressions. So that's pretty much all I got to say on it. Go ahead and do the just do a closing. I guess you've been listening to Ring Gang Radio if you want news.
Is news even
No
on?
touching on the Clarissa fight.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, my phone was messed up.
Yeah, let's do the Clarissa maybe another time, because I got a dip. Unless y'all want me to keep it rolling, I could keep it rolling.
Nah, it's getting late, man. I need to go handle some other shit, yo.
All right,
I'm gonna try to break this long ass hour and a half into something digestible. So
appreciate it in advance.
all right, y'all.
All right.
The crew worldwide, from Cali to Twitter, real hardcore fans, boxing ass niggas, consistency cops, police the views, we'll pull up receipts for any debate you choose. Shout outs to Clan Arky for the dope production. Ring Gang stay with the best discussions.
Ring Gang Radio.